quite a bit from where it was, but
Supreme Court, the contesting of this will and whatnot. So these are some of the original documents, and you can see these are already water damaged.
Yeah, I see the water damage there already.
Because these predate 1927, so they were dried out and preserved. I haul them out on the anniversary of the flood every year and make a display. So last November.
There you go.
And it was Claire Gilbertson. She works for the Historical Society now. I believe she's the one that actually had these enlarged and created for display.
So what date was this?
This was November, I believe, 3rd to the 5th, the library basement in 1992. Actually, I should get these out and show Dan. So this flood was in March that year, so it was due to an ice dam on the river. That's the chair of I think he was the chair of the trustees at that time, canoeing up to the front steps. Here's the building across the street. There's the church across the street. There's the Bethany Church, which they're pumping out right now.
Dan Groberg, G-R-O-B-E-R-G.
And position here at the library?
I'm the executive director. The good news is that the first floor is completely fine. So you'll see that all our beautiful historic building is in fine shape and our collections are fine and undamaged. The bad news is that in our basement, which you can't really get to, but we'll get as close as we can, our basement here is completely full of water. So.
And what did we have in the basement?
Well, we had our book sale, which is a great source of revenue for us, but more importantly, we have all of our building systems down here. So we're looking at likely replacing our electrical system, a lot of plumbing, hot water heater, heat controls, elevator. There's a lot. All the major building systems are here in the basement. So we're expecting that we're going to have to be closed for several weeks and get a lot of systems repaired. You can smell, and we can smell that there's oil that has clearly leaked down here in the basement that will need to be remediated. So a lot of hard work ahead, but we look forward to being able to serve the community in other ways outside of the building. This building has been here since the late 1800s, so it's a historic anchor here in Montpelier.
Mm-hmm. And in the time that this has existed, we're talking maybe the 1927 flood?
Yeah, and I can show you where the 1927 flood mark is in the building. We have it. Thankfully, it was not as bad as that, but I'd say it's definitely the second worst flood that we've ever had here. The 92 flood also flooded the basement, but not as high as this. And actually, this has already receded since yesterday. It was up maybe 3 steps from here. You can see the waterlogged carpet here and some of the damage on the plaster on the wall. That the water was up significantly higher when we were in here yesterday afternoon, and it has subsided a little bit, but you can tell there's probably still 6 feet of water here in the basement. We moved maybe 2 shelves of books up higher and moved some boxes off the floor, thinking that maybe we'd get a foot or 2 of water in the basement, and it seems like that was a waste of time at this point. But and then we did shut off the electricity to the building before we left, so we're hopeful that helped mitigate any further damage or electrical fires or things like that.
Carolyn Picazio, P-I-C-A-Z-I-O.
And position here at the library?
I'm the library director.
If it got to the level of 1927, which is right over your shoulder, how much worse would it have been? It's already bad.
Yeah, I mean, so we would have had a catastrophic collection loss, and we would have been facing for a couple of things. So when you talk about that much moisture in with the books on the library's first floor, there's a potential for mold and mildew and contamination. Water wicks through books incredibly fast and can create a lot of damage and hazards, health hazards. So we would have been facing a lot, 35,000 books worth of collection loss that we would have had to have replaced, plus moisture and water remediation on our first floor. So the fact that it stayed down in our basement this time, our collection has been saved, which is just incredible. And so as soon as we can get cleaned up and get our mechanical systems restored, we should be good to go. And we're already talking about how we can do limited and remote services, even with the building closed.
Are you concerned with what you've lost, though? I mean, that's still a loss. It's your book collection downstairs. Is that going to cause any, like, the smell or the water, the moisture coming up? Is that maybe a problem?
It depends on how fast we can get this remediated. So right now we're already looking at a significant water reduction from yesterday. And we do have a company coming to pump us out, and we've got dehumidifiers already purchased. We're ready to start really drying out that space. And so as soon as we can, we're working as hard as we can to mitigate and remediate and remove all of that damage and moisture. And so we're hopeful that we'll have no impact on the first or second floor.
Has anything priceless been lost?
No. No, not that, I don't think so.
That's great.
Lots of expensive systems, but nothing priceless.
Right. If it would have got to this level, is there something here that would have been?
Absolutely. So our locked case collection, our own archives, historical archives, all of the records of the library, some one-of-a-kind books and items, particularly in our Vermont reference collection, the history things with the history of Vermont, concerning the history of Vermont. It would have been significantly worse.